Yes, we have 4.
That's all we're having tonight?
Mike Howie is supposed to be here, and Chris McCabe is supposed to be here. They said they were, but you do have a forum regardless. So we will start.
Tight meeting.
Call to order at 7:33 p.m. This is the reorganization meeting of the Shade Tree Commission of the Borough of Fairhaven in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. Public meetings may be held in person or by means of communication equipment to include streaming services and other online meeting platforms. This meeting is being held in person through the Zoom meeting platform being broadcast from Borough Hall, 748 River Road, Fairhaven, New Jersey. Public participation for this meeting on January 3rd, 2024 is available by call and phone number or through Zoom. Members of the public will be on mute until this time for questions, comments, which will be announced. At that time, the public has the opportunity to question, comment with the raise hand button and will be called upon at the appropriate time. Notice of this meeting was sent to the Asbury Park Press, the Two River Times, and the Star Ledger on December 26, 2023, posted on the Borough website, the bulletin board, and the municipal building, and has remained continuously posted as required under the statute. With adequate notice having been given, the Shade Tree Commission Secretary is directed to include this statement in the minutes of the meeting. Okay, roll call. Chris Larson.
Here.
Mike D'Angelo.
Here.
Leah Bigani.
Here.
Peter DeGotti cannot make it. Mike Hoey. Chris McCabe. Said he would be here. Kevin McGovern is unable to attend. Jill Sullivan.
Here.
Bonnie Torcivia.
Here.
And Councilman Brian Olson. Oh, and Chris McCabe is here. Okay, rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, I'm calling for nominations for chairman for this year, Shade Tree Commission.
And I nominate Chris.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you. Vice Chair,
Third.
I'll nominate Michael D'Angelo.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? All right, Mr. Chairman, you could resume the meeting.
It's in general.
Yes, Joe, yeah.
In general.
Christie, the liaison, does he cast a vote?
No,
In general,
no.
no, okay. Sure.
Well, thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. The vote of confidence.
The approval of. Chris.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm taking back
Take
over.
the meeting.
Apologies. Assume everybody had an opportunity to look over the prior meeting minutes. I'll make a motion to approve.
Yeah.
Motion to approve the minutes? Second.
You're delaying this. All right, we're moving on to project updates. The tree inventory grant, Jill Sullivan.
Right.
Any-
So Brian, I have a lot of catching up
Yeah.
with you to do, but we'll do that maybe separately. So what do I want to say about what's useful for me to say since our last meeting? So since our last meeting, we've received a proposal from Davy, which was the vendor that we've been, benchmarking against, I would call it. And then Christy and I also had a demo of their software called Tree Keeper. Their proposal is, as expected, much more expensive than it was 2 years ago. And I had asked them to give us two different scopes, one being a partial inventory with a year of the subscription to the software. That would fall within the parameters of the grant, which is $15,000. And then a second one, which would be a full inventory which would require, the borough to kick in order to complete it. So, the second option, would be for about 5,000 trees, where the first option to keep within the budget of the grant would be 1,000 trees, so a significant difference, but also a significant price difference. The.
So the number one is 1,000 trees.
1,000 trees, correct, yeah.
Do we have any idea how many trees that, so they just stopped counting it?
They just stop counting, yes. They just stop, once they get to 1,000 trees, they stop, yes,
Is that even helpful?
yes,
Okay,
because it would be, we would prioritize sections.
Okay.
So, and then we would move on to complete the inventory in the future.
They count and locate them, like put them on a map. So you-
Yes. It would be on a map, and it gives a whole slew of data points. So the objective, just really quickly, so you're a little bit up to speed, the objective here is to inventory all of the public trees in Fairhaven. So, and put them into a tree management software program so that we could be more proactive in maintenance, managing the canopy, have a planting guidance and plan, and also kind of put value on the trees. So a calculated like carbon capture, just kind of to bubble that up to a dollar value of what a tree kind of means to the town, which would tie in nicely with an ordinance. So that's the idea. And the thing that's driving this, the big driver of this is that any other grants that we want to apply for, a tree inventory is a requirement. So, and also, moving forward, we have to redo our community forestry management plan, and a tree inventory is a requirement to be certified. So, has to be done. And by all accounts, it will be helpful, even with partial inventory.
so do they like pick the biggest trees or on certain
No.
streets?
We're gonna give them streets to go on to. So, and we'll work with Nick Chinsky to kind of, and that department to kind of prioritize which neighborhoods would go first. Or which parks. I think at one point he said, like River Oaks would probably be the priority, and then maybe McCarter Park. And then move from there, but that is completely up to our discussion. And
Yeah,
really.
you do it every year until you get the whole town mapped. Is that-
Well, yes, I mean, in theory, we'd like to be able to do it every year. You can only apply for these grants to do an inventory every 2 years.
Well, period.
Yes, however, there's been, and I could give you the history, like. We're hoping that changes and that we might be able to apply more frequently, because the dollar value of this grant has reduced significantly this year because of the requirement for the community forestry management plan, which is new. Okay, so circling back, the total value of doing the full inventory is $49,000. So that's huge, obviously a huge difference between the $15,000 grant. So I can't imagine that that's going to be in the town budget this year, but hey, we want to ask where we can.
Down on the ground.
Just in terms of really quickly, because I don't want to take up too much time here, the data fields that we will be collecting. It goes by, they take computers and they go up to each individual tree. So they have foresters on the ground. They would have a precise location. You would get the species, the size at the DBH size. They would be noting whether or not a tree is a multi-stem tree. They put in the condition of the tree. They put in primary maintenance recommendations. They note any defects in the tree. They assign a risk rating, which is super important in terms of like if it looks like a tree might fail, if it's gonna, and rating that, and then saying, okay, if it does fail, where would it likely fall? Is it going to hit a tree? Is it gonna hit, you know, a power line? Is it gonna hit somebody's house? Is it gonna fall into a park? Like, what's the risk associated with that? And then what would the damage be associated? So they kind of wind up with this rating, which is a universal, or I guess I should just say, a United States rating on how to risk assess trees. They would kind of put stuff on the list that needed for like further inspection. And then they would note utility lines. They would obviously give you the date of the inventory. And that's it. But as a result, all this would go into the software, and you can look at it as a map or as a list, and you would like click on the dot, and it would give you all that information about your trees. And then, you know, there is a public facing platform so that anybody could go in and kind of see what's happening in Fairhaven. And then there is a user, you know, a more private aspect of it where, you know, you're not obviously going to put, you know, out to the public that there's a high risk tree in the Carter Park, like you're just going to take care of it and then be like, it's good. But, you know, so there's, you know, that they could customize how we would want that to look, because this is made for Fairhaven. So anyway, that's vendor number one. I don't have any other vendors to talk about yet, so we will keep this continued next month, and hopefully I'll have you know, a few more people.
I have a question.
Sure.
Just to make sure I understand. So it's 49,000 for the full inventory, and we have a grant for 1,000?
15,000.
15,000
Yeah.
grant. But it only does 1,000 trees.
That only does 1,000 trees, correct?
Okay.
Yeah, that's 1,000 trees and the software for 1 year. And the software we'd have to pay for every year is $3,600.
Regardless.
There's nothing in between. It's either 1,000 or 5,000. We could do like 2,000.
Yeah,
If we
of course
got,
we could. I
okay.
just didn't ask for that
Yeah,
proposal.
well, no,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
mean, if we got money from the borough for a little bit more, maybe we do more trees. kind of
Yes,
thing.
absolutely, yeah,
okay.
yeah. And they give you a price per tree beyond, you know, if it takes, you know, if they could finish a block and it's 10 more trees, we would say finish that block, I assume, to pay, you know, the dollar per tree to finish the block, because that would be I mean, I would imagine that would be a bizarre choice, not.
So am I doing it right that we have 3,267 public trees roughly? Is that?
They are estimating based on like looking from a canopy perspective, and they're estimating 5,000, but you know, that kind of, as you say, that kind of brought me to thinking a couple years ago, maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, when we first started talking about this, I wanted to do a gut check on the first proposals we were getting, because I had the same type of question, like how many trees do we actually have? How do they know? And we had talked at one point about getting volunteers to just basically like count the trees in a park, like, you know, go count how many trees are in McCarter Park. I don't care what type of tree it is, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and maybe pick a few key blocks to kind of just be able to have a better estimate of what we truly have. You know, it might be something worth considering again, and it would be something that would go against go towards rather our match requirement. So, you know,
Look at the volunteer.
as a volunteer hours, yeah.
Yeah.
So I haven't like fleshed that out and totally, it was just something as I was looking at this proposal again before the
Ryan.
meeting today, like thinking like maybe that's worth revisiting. So,
We have a volunteer hour match, but maybe. I'm just-
Okay.
Yeah.
For the grant? Is
yes,
that-
we have a 25% match requirement that we are meeting through volunteer hours and borough employee hours. When they work towards this, they, you know, put their, like Christy puts her hours towards this. When Nick does his demo, he'll put, you know, whatever dollar
Like
value on
Allison
that
is
hour.
going to Nancy to do a ton of paperwork for the grant agreement, and finances, so that all those hours are going.
I'm
I
sorry.
have no question that we will have no problem meeting that match requirement. Based on. Just based on the two of us.
So I want to make sure I understand. I'm sorry, I keep asking, but
That's
it's
okay.
$49,000 to count the 5,000 trees. That's the cost of the vendor, and the grant is for $15,000 for 1,000 trees.
Mhm.
And so if it costs $10,000 to count 1,000 trees, they stop and we just get 10,000 deferred? Is that, do they give us a dollar amount or do they give us the number of trees?
It's 49,000 for the 1,000 trees.
49,000 for 5,000 trees.
Oh, it is 5.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah,
So that's the vendor cost, and then the grant comes in and says, we will give you $15,000 grant, or we will count 1,000 trees.
no, they give us $15,000 grant.
And so what if they could count 2,000 trees with that $15,000? Does that make sense?
This vendor cannot. They will not count 15,000, they will not count 2,000 trees for $15,000. They will count 1,000 trees and give us a software package for $15,000.
So the $1,000 is the vendor limit, not the grant.
No, I'm sorry, 1,000 trees is the vendor saying that, I asked them to tell me what they could do for $15,000.
I see.
Make it like saying that having the software is not negotiable. And that's $3,600.
Is that on top of the? Oh, I'm sorry. Is that on top of the 15,000 for the 1,000 trees? The
No, that's
$3,600?
including,
That's
it's
included.
15,000 total, will give us
Including.
1,000 trees and the software for 1 year.
Okay,
By
Yeah.
the vendor.
But
That's the vendor.
that's the first vendor, so we'll go and get other quotes
Yep.
to see if someone could do better.
So it's $10 a tree.
Yeah, that's like.
That seems like a lot.
It's completely in line with
Yeah.
what every other vendor I've talked to so far.
Really,
is.
they're
Yeah,
all-
Yes, actually, the other one was more, yeah.
Wasn't
3
it?
years ago, it was like $6 a tree.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
Well-
are there, excuse me,
Okay.
are there certain vendors that are approved by to use for this inventory?
they have to be a certified arborist or forester.
Okay,
This is not something volunteers can do, that is
Yeah.
very specific in the
No.
grant.
no, I
It's-
figured that, I just wondered if there was a certain list of,
No,
vendors that
no, there's not,
Yeah.
but they have to have their proper certifications.
Hmm.
There's really like two big players in the software. There's this one, and then there's another one called Tree Plotter. And there are consultants that can use these software packages. So we could go to Davy and just buy the software from them and have a different vendor use that something you like do the inventory for us. And then they would put that together. So it, this is one person, this is one company. But like I said, we've kind of been benchmarking against them because they've been the ones that have been willing to go along with me on this 2-year journey. So,
Yeah.
this is where we're starting.
So when trying to justify the expense, we wanted to go above 1,000. Once we get this inventory, then we want to get grants to do what? Plant more trees that we need because, this our inventory shows.
Yeah, any
Okay.
planting grant that you want to go after is going to require you to have a tree inventory. Now, when you go in and look at that, it doesn't say you need to have a complete tree inventory. So this partial inventory will kind of like get us there,
Yeah,
right? But the idea is that a complete inventory is going to allow us to better manage our trees in the town. Like that is the goal. Like instead of, let's get off the Excel spreadsheet, let's like actually be able to rank what's most important. I mean, this, we could have them identify planting sites, like it's,
yeah,
a tree comes down and then all of a sudden it's just a stump, like you go in there and somebody with their phone on the program will say, okay, the tree came down, or, we trimmed this tree, we pruned this tree, it's a really like live way to
it
understand.
raises up because
Yeah.
right now it's just a sheet of, with not a lot, not most of this information.
No, and it's a way to actually assign maintenance projects to people.
Yeah.
So Nick or whomever is responsible for that could say to the DPW, okay, I need you to do X, Y, and Z on these blocks today, and it like kind of sends them out, and then they could go in at their level of authorization within the program and say, taking care of this, notice this, whatever. I mean, there is a way to even open it up to the public to put in requests. I don't know that we would want to do that. But it is a complete like management
Yeah,
program.
Do other towns nearby, have they gone through this that we know, some Little Silver, where they've used a vendor and counted trees?
Red Bank has, Little Silver has not, and Rumson has not yet. But like I said, if you want to be, like, to be certified under the New Jersey Urban and Community Forestry Plan, you have to have, you have to meet certain requirements, and this is going, like, once their plan expires, they're good for 5 years. The next time they do it, they will have to have an inventory in order to remain certified, which, you know,
Does that mean, so for us, that means if we pay, let's just say $49,000 fell out of the sky, we had the 5,000 counted, it would be good for 5 years, and we have to spend another 49,000 in 5 years, or no?
no, no, you would kind of maintain it. So the inventory is at a point in time, and then as you plant trees, that's not to say that somebody that's planting, that goes in and plants an oak tree, Bonnie, that, you know, someone couldn't put that in there. Like, you can go in and say, I've done this to the tree, or I planted this tree, or this tree has come down. But all those data points that I talked about, like looking up at a mature tree, is not something that anybody sitting in this room is qualified to do. Especially like a risk assessment, because you would never want the liability associated with like me going in and saying, yeah, it looks great, and then it's, you know, it's not.
So as long as once we do the inventory, if we maintain it, then that bit of information is good for future grants, and it sort of
Correct.
qualifies us.
You know, and
I'm just trying to understand.
yeah, totally,
Okay.
and it's only as good as we are
Yes,
in
of
maintaining it. So that's not to say that you would never have to do an inventory again,
Right.
but in theory,
Yeah.
you know, as long as you keep up with, you know, the maintenance also, because if if the maintenance list is super long and there's recommendations to check these trees every year, but if we don't check them, then I don't know how good that inventory is. I mean, we could still say we have it, but you know, what is the value associated with that data if we aren't maintaining it?
hopefully it will put a bigger focus on the maintenance part of it, now that we've spent the money and we have the information.
Hopefully.
And
Yeah,
I remember while looking through the notes, that, is it Nick, does he need to be trained on this software?
yeah.
Would he be the one that's gonna do this? Is it a big,
Presumably,
is it a big
Teresa
deal?
hasn't signed it yet. He was gonna take that demo with us and then he was out sick, but he would be the one, I think, that would have a kind of like the purview and the
I
knowledge.
just wonder how
He's a
busy he is,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't think that there's any harm in more than Nick having
Yeah,
the
Dave
demo,
Carl.
but,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking,
or,
Dave
but
Carl's
there
out.
has to be
Dave's
some
very
time.
hands-on, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see when we get to that point.
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean, I think he is an important, or maybe it's not, I mean, I'm assuming it's him since he maintains the other spreadsheet right now, but
Right.
you know, before we make any decision on what we're doing or getting down to like recommending a couple vendors, like it's whoever's gonna be ultimately responsible for this needs to be on board.
Yeah, may I ask, since we did get this grant, is it more likely for us to be able to get it again next year?
They said, no, we can't apply right now, we cannot apply next year, so like, we can't apply in 2024. We actually can't apply until this is complete. The good news is that, you know, with the work itself does not take that long. So
Mhm.
once it gets rolling, like, it's not gonna take them months and months to do this. It's probably gonna be done in 6 weeks.
Okay.
Right now, we'd have to wait until 2025 to apply again, or maybe it's 2 years from when we got it awarded. I'd have to, it might be 2026.
Okay.
Do we need to get on their agenda? Like, I mean, I would think they would do this when the tree has leafed out and they can better tell what species it is, you know? Like,
Right now, they're booking into the spring.
Yeah.
I
okay.
mean, and yeah,
I mean, like, do we have to get on there, you know, are they getting looked up?
they
yet?
could, I mean, this company is big enough where right now he said that they're not booking in New Jersey or in the Northeast right now because it's cold. and they have enough business in the south, so they send their teams
Oh.
down there
Oh,
because
okay.
it's, they're
Makes
working
sense.
outside. I would guess, and I would assume also that, like, looking at a tree when it leaves out is better,
Yeah,
but that doesn't seem to be an issue, because they're
I mean-
professionals.
yeah, and maybe they could tell me.
Gonna run-
Anyway. So that's that, but, I'm happy to chat more about this and,
Yeah.
offline, whenever. Okay,
Line.
yeah. So
Thank
to
you.
be
Thank you.
continued, to be
Thank you so much.
continued on that.
Yeah,
That's a lot of work, thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
And you're still up.
I'm still
Resident tree
up.
buying
Okay,
program.
so, we are all set for the spring tree buying program. So in the fall, for the first time, we did, a resident tree buying program where we partnered with Fernbrook Nursery out of Bordentown, and we offered maybe 15, 20 trees, from their inventory. And, we were kind of like the middleman to mediate, like to put like the information out there so that residents could buy directly from Fernbrook. And then they came in for like 2 days and they planted the trees in the residents' ground. The residents directly paid Fernbrook. The trees are guaranteed for a year. It was well received. We planted 55 trees. And it's very reasonably priced. $380 for shade trees planted, decent size, like 10-foot trees. And so we're looking to do it again. So I spoke with Tanya at Fernbrook, who is the salesperson there. Unfortunately, their inventory is lower than it was in the fall. So especially on flowering trees, the selection is kind of small. But hold on. So we have 3 flowering trees available. The red bud Merlot, the Winter King hawthorn, we did offer that in the fall. And the ivory silk tree lilac. Those are the 3 flowering trees they have. They don't have any cherries. They don't have any dogwoods. She said maybe in the fall. They've sold out. They sell to their wholesale vendors before they sell to us. So that's what we're gonna offer there. The evergreens, we're gonna do the American holly again, which we offered in the fall. Pretty successful. We had 8 orders for that. The Hillspire juniper, the Robusta green juniper, and the elegant gold tip Abrevite, which we offered in the fall. We had 15 orders. That was our best selling tree. So the shade trees, I have 7 here, and we want to get down to 5. So I thought that I would just throw it out basically to you. To eliminate 2. I have my thoughts on it. We have the red sunset maple, which we offered in the fall, the commemoration sugar maple, the European beech, the skyline honey locust, which we offered in the fall. That one didn't do so well. The Kentucky coffee tree, the sweet gum, but a fruitless version, and the swamp white oak, which I noted in your thing. You put 2 big check marks next to it.
I had picked up the book at the.
That was super
the
helpful.
The Shade Tree
Yeah,
Conference,
that
yeah,
was
and I
super
gave to Jill and I checked all my
Yeah.
favorites.
So my recommendation would be, to get down to 1 maple. I thought we would do the alternate, the sugar maple instead of the red sunset, since we did that in the fall. They're both native. They're about the same size. The sugar maple is slightly bigger. The other one that I would cross off of that list is the skyline honey locust, because we did it in the fall and only 1 person ordered it.
Mhm.
So that would leave us the sugar maple, the beech, the coffee tree, the gum tree, and the swamp white oak. And most of those are native
This
trees.
is a ball, doesn't have balls, the gum tree?
It says it's fruitless. Yeah,
So
I've
interesting.
never heard of that.
Hybrid.
yeah, it's it's the fruitless version. I don't have the,
And that's native too.
Well, I think the Kentucky coffee tree is a great tree. The only thing I remember, Sherry, when we were discussing trees at Sportsman, she kind of was against the sugar maple because of the warm, like climate change was affecting or something. I don't know, it just might be worth, I don't know. If they don't feel that way, then I don't really know that much about it, but
Yeah, I mean,
I
she
mean,
seemed,
yeah.
I mean, she seemed pretty,
you ran this by her?
no,
Oh,
sure, no, talking with, and
Tanya.
talking with, Tanya. Yeah,
Okay, and the beach is what kind of beach?
European, that's only non-native.
Okay. What? Um,
So that's where we're at. That would be my. If anybody else has any other thoughts, I could,
This is, I just pulled up on the screen, fruitless gum tree.
well, I can show you. 24.
yes,
Well, I'm comfortable, Bonnie making a call, we'll be getting rid of it.
yeah, I've never heard of that, but,
Okay, Happy Days Sweet Gum, this one is the one she's, yeah, fruitless, native.
okay.
Is there anything in those trees that's better or worse for the invasive bug, the
Oh, the,
lantern fly?
I think the only thing they know attracts them is the tree of heaven, but I don't know,
I wonder if any of those are resistant to it or,
oh,
that.
I don't know.
I think that wasn't discussed, it's a good question. Could certainly ask that.
Yeah,
But
That might
that
tip
one-
you one way or the other
Yeah.
between two.
Yeah. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
So that if one's resistant to lantern fly, it
Yeah.
might tip
Yeah.
you,
I don't
very
know that
different
I've seen
between
a
two.
listing of ones that are, but it would be an interesting.
Yeah,
Where's the beach we're talking about?
they don't have this.
Do we want to contemplate this and then, so we can
Yeah,
move through the agenda? Or,
I mean, if
and then
everyone,
make a, I mean,
you guys, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, Okay.
full faith in Bonnie.
Do you want me to
You're
just
right.
offline? Finish it with Jill or we're good?
Sure.
Yeah, for the European. I mean,
Don't
I
keep
guess,
us in suspense if you know which one it is already.
well, I don't know, you know, I don't have my glasses, I can't even
Oh,
read the.
okay. Why don't you
I
go
was
over and
not
then-
in my checks, I don't know, like.
this is what they have.
Yeah,
We
I
don't have
know.
any other
Yeah.
options, so like that, we can't,
The only thing I would be looking at the honey locust just because it is a native tree, I mean, it does.
yeah, I hear you, but
Yeah.
nobody wanted it.
Yeah, nobody wanted it,
So I think we should try something and let's get another couple trees in the ground.
okay,
You know, that's my thought there. I
Okay.
knew that was, you know, it would be your preference.
okay,
Yeah.
and this is May that they're talking about?
May. So I'll put together that, that PDF file that we can email around, but I would like to hold off on getting it out there just a couple, maybe till the end of January, beginning of February, because I don't want it to sit for too long because people forget about it and everybody does everything last minute. And they won't be getting these in the ground until May, and she just needs it from us by like the end of March.
Oh.
So really, we have a bit of time and
Could
something
we-
sitting out there for 6 weeks is not good.
Could we promote it as like Earth Day's coming up or something in honor of Earth Day, even though they'd be planted in May or Arbor Day or something?
Arbor Day, right?
If you like,
Yeah.
I mean.
I don't know, I'm just trying to think of
it's-
something
It's just
to-
not gonna be anywhere close to that.
No, it'll be, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Thinking fall.
Springtime, yeah, like springtime planting, in honor of that,
Yeah.
whatever, like that's,
Right,
I'm happy to.
Real quick, here's from Penn State. Adults, this is lantern fly, adults prefer tree of heaven or cultivated grape, but they will switch over to red and silver maples and occasionally to other trees such as sycamore, willow, and river birch in the fall. The pests rarely feed on oaks and it does not appear to like conifers.
Okay, so we could do the sugar maple instead of the red maple, is that we said the red maple, right?
They will switch over to red and silver maples.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
so
then
I
we'll
don't
do the
think-
sugar maple then. Perfect,
Okay.
thanks.
Should we run anything by Sherry just to determine, make sure that there's nothing wrong with, or if she has any
not a
recommendations?
bad idea.
Yeah, it's fine, I could give her a call, I mean, it is what it is in terms of, like
Yeah.
I said, they don't have anything else, so. I mean, it would be, we could eliminate something if she thinks it's a bad idea. No, there's no one saying that we have to offer 5 shade trees, it's just what we did.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah.
I wonder if any of the people that planted would take pictures with their trees.
Yeah.
That we could post them
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I had,
You could do that,
Yeah.
yeah, on
on social.
Instagram, yeah.
we had
As
gotten,
part of, yeah,
two.
you mean as part of this marketing process?
Yes,
yeah,
Yeah, because
Yeah,
they
we
might
can do
have
that.
grown, those people
Yeah.
who sent to me, then maybe back in September, then now let's see. like,
Yeah.
how much it's grown.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will reach out to.
That's a great
Yeah.
idea.
unfortunately, they'll look sad and have no.
They're sad.
Buy one of these.
Yes, yeah, there's a lot of people go to a lot of the hollies and stuff like that.
The holidays look good, yeah.
Yeah, with the berries on right now, they're pretty,
yeah, the berries look good right now.
yeah. Okay, I'm done.
All right,
Okay,
well done. Green team and natural area.
okay, so I just want to first, did everybody get this in their mail today?
Did.
Okay, thank you, Christy Larson, who helped the green team get this. It's been sitting there. We've been trying to figure out a way to inexpensively distribute it. And I guess you figured that out. Christine did a
Yes, I
drop.
did.
Yeah, so anyway, just tell us what is acceptable for recycling and what's not.
That's
So-
great, that's great.
We're hoping to get that word. out.
So the idea is to put that on your garbage can?
Yeah, well, there was, discussion about magnets and yes, you can put this on your garbage can or you can just put it, tape it to your cabinet. I mean, if I had my garbage can, I might not.
Take it to my kid's face.
In the Borough buzzer were instructions, if you put it on your can, put it on the lid and maybe prep it with alcohol first so that
Yeah.
it's.
My lid's disgusting from everything
Yeah,
falling on it,
yeah.
yeah. So that was very exciting. Thank you, Christy. Make sure you put that in the minutes. The squirt swap that was earlier this month was very successful. They're gonna try to do it again this spring, maybe coordinate with the Rumson Environmental Commission, which is basically their environmental commission is their green team. I think that we need to get the word out that you don't have to bring something to take something. It's just the idea is just so don't throw it away, just give it to somebody to reuse. That's the idea. So hopefully it will start to catch on. The Knollwood Green Team we've been working with them a lot. They're adorable. Jen and Bill's great. And they helped with the homegrown oak project, the project where the single kids picked up the acorns and then took them over. We had I got a truckload of dirt from Risers, who is just wonderful. Once again, gave me back of my Jeep full of dirt for we put some little oaks that had sprouted roots into the pots, and the green team helped us, and they just watered them today at their meeting, so they've been really great about that. And what else? We're still working on a sign for the pollinator garden. It's been planted. We're gonna get some more plants in there, or we're gonna encourage people to divide their natives, and which is what a couple of our members did. And the natural area, we put some trees in there, some of the bare root trees. We're still trying to figure out what we're gonna do with probably planting grasses. If the dirt is not, it's amazing how, I don't know what was there, like the cell tower. What, if that was just a dump or if it was from the nursery. But if you dig on Thirsty Trail, dirt is fabulous, beautiful, it's easy to grow. And this dirt is just full of stuff and over by cell tower. So we're, might just throw grass down and see what happens. It's just interesting that it's not, and it's very swampy anyway, but we'd love to get it to look pretty and put new trails in there for people to walk around. And is that me? That's it.
All right, thanks, Bonnie. Community outreach, yeah.
We have 177 followers. I have posts for graphics I've made and have not posted. Been under the weather and kind of catching up on all things.
Sorry.
Thanks. So yes, so I'll be working on that, and hopefully we'll have some more posts with one of these people that have planted. And when do you guys think I should start posting about the resident tree buying again?
I would, not for a while,
Like for a while.
yeah.
To order by when? By March?
end of March.
End of,
Yeah, so I'll send you all that info,
Awesome.
but yeah,
And it'll be pretty much the same, is the pricing the same, it's just a
Mhm.
different list of trees, right?
Yeah, it's gonna look exactly the same, maybe I'll
Okay.
change it a little. Yeah,
Okay.
like I said, in my experience, like asking people to order something and giving them too much time is,
The worst thing.
it doesn't work, like, yeah, so.
Um,
I just want not to get stale.
okay.
And Leah and Jill, perhaps we could tie in the tree buying program with Arbor Day. I think that's a good tie-in. It's the same time of year. Um, Perhaps we can promote both at the same time. I think that'd be a nice little
Mhm.
tie-in for the community.
When is Arbor Day this year?
The last Friday in April.
Yep.
26th, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
26th.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, maybe we could like on Arbor Day. Post something about like how many trees were purchased and they're gonna be in the ground soon, we could tie it in that way. You know, make the announcement of how many trees are going to be put into Fairhaven as a result of this and kind of. Since they're not actually going to be planted on Arbor Day,
Right.
we could do something along that lines to.
How about this? Maybe we have a contest. If you buy a tree, if you join the resident buying project, perhaps one lucky winner gets a free tree and we pay for it.
I like that. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
It gets their trees for free.
It's a,
Right, that's what you said, Mike,
either a
right?
free tree or an extra tree, another tree, like a 2-for-1.
Whatever, say 50 people buy 70 trees. One lucky winner gets one of their trees for free.
Yeah, I
And we
like that
announce it
idea.
on Arbor Day.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that a lot.
That's fun.
Good idea.
Just a thought.
Like
I
that.
like
Good
it.
one.
Yeah,
That's a great idea.
I think it's done.
But we probably have to order
We
that
have to-
extra tree.
no, they're just saying like if you ordered 5 trees and you win, one of your trees is gonna be paid for by us.
Oh,
You don't
Yeah,
pay for the
okay.
Yeah,
So you don't get the
right,
praise.
you don't pay until they plant it in your ground, but yeah.
Okay.
So I'll let them know that that's probably gonna be. That'll be our plan, because then it will come like it did last time.
From the truck.
Yeah, but also they would have to give us a PO instead of paying that day. Which is fine, they did it last time.
We'll have a list of orders, you could just pick them out of a hat again.
Yeah, we could like live stream it.
Oh, yeah.
On our, can we get on our Instagram there?
Meeting if you do the poster.
Probably crash the internet.
Yeah, we would go viral. I did make a thank you graphic for the community appeal, but I couldn't remember what was raised.
Oh, I have that. I think it's 2430. I'll send you the exact amount.
Thanks. And that covers what I have.
All right, thank you, Blake. Christmas tree replacement, and I see Mike. Oh, he
Was
he
here.
was here. Nice.
Oh, he dropped.
Okay.
He was here. Chris, do you want those emails?
Yeah, he did send me an update here. Let me look back up. I thought it was okay. All right, so the update for the Christmas tree, we're working on replacing our what has become affectionately known as our Charlie Brown Christmas tree. Trying to get something a little more vibrant.
More Halloween.
Oh, he's back. Hold on.
Oh, he's back in? All right.
Mike, if you can unmute, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yep, how are you?
There you go.
Hey, Mike. We were just about to do the Christmas tree replacement segment of our meeting here. You want to speak to that, please?
Yeah, sure. So, excuse me, I talked to Teresa today via email, and I asked her what the plan is now, because obviously we put off cutting down the existing tree and decorating for the season. I think the DPW did a good job of making it look as good as possible. And she came back and said that they have a contractor that will be removing the locust tree. I asked her for timing on that, and she didn't come back to me as of this afternoon. And then she asked for how much we thought a replacement tree would cost for budgetary reasons, because she wants to put that in the SDC budget for this year. So a couple things, Chris and I caught up this afternoon real quick. Is thing to come to mind is she said the DPW would take down the existing tree and the other tree would be taken down by a contractor, Discovery Construction, a subcontractor of them. That's what she mentioned. And then I guess the next part is figuring out how big of a tree and how much it's going to cost to replace it with. And from the soil samples, we also need to figure out how we're going to remediate the soil that is there, because it seems like that soil is not really ideal from a growing perspective. So, and when we went there with the park committee there was a number of us there. Teresa was there, somebody from DPW, the park committee, as well as DJ. And it was mentioned that you really got to, the DPW thing, you really got to dig it out. You got to take all the roots out and you really got to dig it down and replace it with good soil in order for it to be effective and grow. And that was one of the reasons why the existing tree there didn't survive. So I'll pause there, but I think that really the deliverable now is to get a timing on when the tree's coming down, to understand who, and I can take this back to Teresa, who can remediate that area in order to put in good soil for the tree to grow. And I guess for this group is, I know that we have the tree buying program. Is that nursery able to price out a replacement Christmas tree? I don't know whether it be 15 feet or if it's too tall to start. And then I guess understand if we do buy the tree from, where we do buy the tree from, the cost and what they do. Do they just plant it? Do they help us remediate it? Do they have the service? Will they bundle that all into one? So I'll pause there.
I did mention to Brooke that we were going to be looking to replace our Christmas tree. And she did say that they could help with that, but I kind of left it there a couple conversations ago. So I'll ask her again, and I could ask about site remediation and prepping for a new tree if you like.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I can connect you, Mike, if you prefer to. I mean,
maybe Mike, would you rather speak directly to them since you've already been?
I mean, if anybody, I think if anybody else wants to speak to them as well, if we can organize it properly, then I think that'd be great. Just because, there's definitely a lot of experience on this committee that I don't have when it comes to planting trees and so on. So I think that if we can have one or two help out, and I think, like I said, the two things is really identifying what kind of tree to put in there, how much it's going to cost, and then who can help us remediate the area to make it a soil compound that'll allow it to grow for years to come.
no, I'll introduce you to them over email, and
Okay,
and,
that'd be great.
I could stay on there for now, but I think it's best to probably have one point of contact for a project with dealing with a vendor.
Sure.
But they're really knowledgeable, so I'm sure that they could help you.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
Mike, I also, because I was driving past Molzon Nursery, I went in there to look at something and I started talking to the owner. And I explained to him that we were looking for a tree, and he said, oh, there's a place right down the street, and that's what they do. And so I drove down and they had big evergreens. And he said, I've been trying to call the guy, but he hasn't called me back. I think everybody has winter hours, but I could, check into that more. And I did, Mike, I had sent you that from Capelli. I go to tree nurseries all the time. And it seems to me, I talked to the people at Capelli, which are up in Middletown. I talked to Casola Farms, because Bill Brooks had recommended that they had a bunch of evergreens at the last meeting. It seems to me like the price is about $600 for like a 12-foot tree, if that's what we want. And then they will deliver it and plant it for another $300 to $500. I don't know. I didn't ask anybody about remediating the soil. I think you have to be really careful, because trees don't like to settle. They want the root crown to be above level, so you don't want to go down too deep. I guess you could put in some dirt, but
Well, that's why, yeah, we have an expert do
Yeah.
the planning there.
I mean, I don't know, risers, it has tons of dirt. I mean, they're really nice to work with. I don't know, but. I mean, we have a lot of very close local nurseries with big trees around here. I don't think it would be a problem, and I don't think it would be that expensive to get it. I mean, if we wanted to put it in our budget.
Mhm.
I can't imagine it would cost more than $2,000 to get it. I mean, you could get a 12 to 15 foot.
Yeah.
And I also, Mike, at the last meeting,
Plus like delivery, labor.
well,
all
that's
that.
the planting, that was
All included.
all included. A gal who works in Fairhaven, who I was talking to, a gal who works in Fairhaven but lives in Little Silver, has a 12-foot Norway spruce that's beautiful that she wants to remove from her property. She said she would give it to us. She would be happy to give it to us. Her son is a lieutenant in the Air Force. She said, "Oh, Marble Park, that'd be great. It'd be perfect." We would just have to pay to take it out. So I was going to ask this guy also what that would cost. I don't know if you'd be interested. She would love to see the tree moved and saved. She doesn't want it on the property, so that's another option. So many.
I mean, if nobody else has an issue with it, I think it's something you could explore, but I think you gotta take into consideration. Sometimes, I mean, the little amount of work I've done in my own yard, landscapers, it's gonna be more than to
Yeah,
take the tree out, move the tree, to replant, you might as well just get a new tree.
Well,
But I mean,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
I think also the risk
Of
of,
that.
of that is if it fails, we spent all this money to move it, and
Right.
there's no guarantee associated with it.
Well, that is a good point.
Yeah, and I think that would be.
And
that would be disappointing.
Both these other,
One year.
yeah, they were all 1 year warranty. Yeah, that's true.
I don't want to disappoint her, but I mean, I
Yeah.
really think we gotta look at the
Yeah,
best interest of the
right.
finally getting this tree.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Anything else,
Yeah, so I
Mike?
guess no, that's really, I mean, I guess, like I said, I asked for Teresa for timing because I think obviously, the fall is probably the time frame, or spring is probably the time frame when we want this completed and planted, correct? That would probably be ideal.
Yeah, ideal.
Unless it was before the ground
So-
freezes.
Well, I mean, taking the tree out though, I mean, we're gonna wait till the ground unfreezes if it ever does. But I mean, like, I'd like to understand and I'll talk to Teresa tomorrow, call her just to find out. I would imagine that, I'm not sure, what tree removal companies calendars look like, but sometimes I feel like they're a little bit dull in the winter. So hopefully we can press ahead and get that removed and at least get one step done and move towards the finish line of getting something in the ground over time.
They're taking down trees today.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Salem oak trees.
I'm gonna try my best to get a hold of Mrs. Schwartz and plan something for that week of Earth Day, Arbor Day. To get the Salem oaks in the ground.
Yeah.
That week.
And I think at the last meeting we agreed that if she gets back to you with the kids, or if she is able to,
We'll just,
we'll put
maybe I'll
that in
just,
anyway.
we'll just go ahead. Should I
And
just plan? We will be there what day, maybe. we'll
Yeah, I
discuss,
think that's-
and I was gonna ask in conjunction with that, I know we had done the tree giveaway. And everybody kind of was like, is it even worth it? I don't know, I feel like I've been talking to all these people that grew these trees from little teeny trees. And such great stories that I just wonder if we want to try that again, and maybe during that week when we're planning the Salem oak. Explain that this was a little teeny tree and now it's this big, and hand out, I actually Googled, and the New Jersey third grade seedling program is suspended for 2024. Is that, but they said the tube seedling order is coming out soon. Is that what we did
The
before?
tube
That's
keeping
just-
order with, and Rutgers and UCF, that's what you guys gave out that first year of Love Where You Live Day. And then
Right,
last year you did the giveaway instead, the
Yeah.
raffle.
right.
And then
It's-
there's another one,
but-
the community
Tree recovery.
recovery tree program. That's Fairview seedlings.
Oh, and who's that through? Arbor Day?
This is the Arbor Day Foundation.
Oh.
program.
And are they, when do you get them? I mean, I was just thinking it'd be kind of fun to give the kids. I mean, yeah, the kindergartens collected the acorns. It's just kind of maybe
Yeah.
do something like that.
I think this was something along the lines that we talked about last year. I think Mike, you'll remember the seedlings we didn't do it last year because we decided that previous years, most of the seedlings just never made it to the ground. Like they were handed out, I believe, and pretty sure nobody planted them, or a very, very
Well,
tiny percentage of them.
I wonder if you put them in little pots with dirt and gave them out that way, would that be better, you think? So they don't dry out, they took them home and they plant them somewhere? I don't know.
Well, yeah, Chris is right. We did lose a lot of them. And Chris McCabe is on too, and he had a bunch in his house that he tried to keep alive for several months, and that was tough to do. The problem
mean,
is they tell you, the state tells you when they're going to distribute those trees. So you can't really, guarantee a time if you're trying to, coordinate with an event. They'll tell you a time frame, usually a week around Arbor Day, but I think the past couple of years we actually got them after Arbor Day.
Oh, really?
So again, there's so many variables with this. I've been reluctant in the past couple of years and to pursue it because it seems like the first couple of years we tried it, it's not what we anticipated.
How much
It's-
were they free or they cost?
They are
For
free.
free.
They're free.
They're
Yeah.
free.
And evergreen?
And you just have to go pick them up, which
Oh, right.
any one of us would be happy
And
to
free
do,
one.
I'd do it, but. And Christie, do you know, it says 1,000, is that up to 1,000? Like, we don't have to.
And
Yes.
so we're doing two different
It is-
things. For the first overview
It's
this
up to
day,
1,000?
Rutgers, they were $90 to buy like a few boxes that were handed out. This is a totally different program through the Arbor Day Foundation. And these are free. So,
And,
Oh, it says up to 1,000.
and does it say when they would do? You would think
I
Arbor Day
didn't look at
Foundation
this.
would
You
give
have to apply by January 26th. It says available between April 4th and April 25th, so that's a
the day before.
day before Arbor Day, right? 26th, is it?
yeah, and you just have to go pick them up. There's no delivery. So.
And
And
then they'll
where do
tell
they
you
come?
ahead of time. Usually they'll say there are three species available. Usually there's a flowering tree. There's like a more of usually a larger tree they put in there like an oak. And then like an evergreen type tree. That's usually the smattering of types of trees or species of trees that they'll provide. Yeah, I'm not completely against it. I feel if we have, designated, places to give them to, with instructions, and maybe the potting idea is a good idea, but, again, I think we had a lot just in buckets after our last giveaway a few years ago that ended up perishing woefully.
Well,
I don't know where they ended up. I mean, they were kicking butt in my garage with the fluorescent light. They were all flowering and doing really well. And then I don't know where I dropped them off to somebody, and that was kind of the end of them. I don't know how many actually made it from that point into the ground. But yeah, it was tough because a lot of people didn't have the yard. They didn't have the ability, the amount of space needed for some of the oaks too. So it seemed like everyone was taking the dogwoods.
Yeah, the dogwoods are definitely the favorite.
One large.
is that the hell?
Yeah,
Could I
yeah.
just look at that?
Yeah,
We have
yeah,
kids.
yeah.
I mean, well, if, could we think, well, so we have to order them by the end of January, so we have to make a decision. $1,000's a lot, but
But it says up to.
Yeah.
So we
Just multiples of 25.
Are the kids, going to be watching you plant the Salem letter?
that's, I
we
think,
hope to.
we hope to. I was trying to figure out how, because they have a little newspaper, the fourth graders, I think, so we thought maybe they could come out and. I don't know how you get all these kids to dig the hole, that's the only. But maybe they could have a schedule for watering it, or, yeah, I don't know if you have any ideas on. How to coordinate this.
Yeah, I'm marinating on this,
Bonnie has reached out to
Mrs. Short.
Mrs.
Yeah, I
Schwartz.
mean, you were there when I walked her, right?
Right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And she's all, very interested in it, but just trying to coordinate. So yeah, I remember there's 3 of them and they're all on my porch. Trying to keep them. So,
Yeah, I think you have to realize the reality of it is, if we go in with the mindset that we're probably not going to get, I would say 95% of these trees are not going to survive. But if you get 5% in the ground that will grow and flourish, if we find that acceptable, then I think it's worth doing. I mean, if we, add to the total population, it's not unlike nature, right? Some of these seedlings just don't survive. So if we're
Well,
of
We
the
put in
mindset,
for 200 or 300.
yeah. The other
Is
thing,
that it?
Then why not, why aren't we
We
doing
have- we
all
have put-
dogwoods if that's if that's what's,
because I think maybe you can't get them all, do they?
you have to take it oak? I mean, I know you love the oaks, but if that was an obstacle in the past where people weren't taking them because they're too big. Why don't we buy the smaller trees?
I don't think we had the option. I think they gave us 3 species, and we always would request the dogwoods because we knew those went well. But I think they still gave us an evergreen and some type of oak. Actually, a couple types of oaks.
Yeah,
remember
I don't remember how that process worked, because I think Dave Becker always went and got them. So I
Yeah.
have no idea
Right.
if you just could grab, they were like in the white paint buckets or whatever. So I don't know how the process worked at the delivery or the acceptance of the delivery. So
We could also coordinate with the natural area. I mean, they could use people just popping them in there. I mean, they could just pop trees in everywhere.
and they are small.
Yeah.
They are, people think of tree, they don't think of the sticks. That these guys are very, they're like Christmas pencils. They're not, not these big trees.
That's deer food right there. But.
You gotta start
Actually, yes,
somewhere.
no, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. The sea
I
turtle
know.
trying to make his way back.
Well.
What do you think? You wanna go for it, tell you.
I do.
Can we
But of course,
apply
I like-
for, Christie, do you know, can we just
It's not gonna
apply
cost,
for,
it's
like,
not gonna cost anything, right? This is not.
Not to apply, no, yeah, I mean, we're applying, you don't even know if you're gonna get them, so.
Oh,
This is like a.
oh, and then
first come, first served.
there is
kind of
a,
application.
there is a number
It's an
we can request, we could.
Yeah, you can request
Put in-
whatever you want.
200,
Okay.
300,
Okay.
something more.
That's a
And
lot.
then I think
Yeah.
you're closer to the date, you find out what we'll get.
100?
I mean, if we have like, maybe if we like targeted, like, maybe the kids that come to see the tree be planted can take home a plant or a tree. You know, I don't.
Do you know the other thing I was thinking? You heard about this farmer's market that they want to start up in part of park, well, right there on the street on Willow Street?
Mhm.
I was thinking we could have tree,
Yeah, that's it.
yeah,
Okay.
maybe,
Yeah, but we had to figure out a number because to your point, if we wanted to give the kids that came out while we were hopefully planting these Salem oak trees, we wouldn't want to run out.
yeah, that's
Right.
what I was
About
Send kids away.
110 kids
No
per
tree.
grade.
oh, there are, okay.
And
for-
4 grades,
That's a
including
lot.
kindergarten, I guess,
That's a lot.
That's a
so
lot.
that's
That's a lot.
500.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of buckets
That's
with water in.
That's,
Sorry, kids, no trees,
No tree for you.
no tree.
you're gonna be shipped in a backpack, like that's.
Look, we
Yeah,
We
no,
have
that's
until
fine.
26, so we want to send in the application
Yeah, let's-
for 100. And maybe by then, if we do get them, we'll have a plan for them. At least
Okay.
we'll have them, it's 100.
I can plan 100.
You might just be doing that.
I might.
That would be great for social media.
I will buy you a beer. All right,
So you want me to complete this application
Yes.
for 100?
for 100,
trees?
100
And then-
trees,
and-
73 saplings,
Do you need,
have them delivered to Bonnie's house.
yeah, you come to my house.
Well,
They don't have to live
All
here.
right, I'll go pick.
I don't mind you to, okay, do we have to pick what we want? We have
There
to choose?
wasn't a selection on the application.
It just, this is what you might get. that what it?
Yeah.
what is potentially about.
Potential, oh, okay, got
We can discuss.
it, okay.
If I have any questions, I'll go.
Okay.
So
Moving on,
Okay,
McCarter Park tree review. So in between this meeting and last meeting, I think it was, or maybe. I went with Sherry Spiro and Nick and Dave from the DPW. There are 3 very large trees in McCarter Park that they are concerned about. And there is, there is a memo there.
Yes,
Sherry's prepared.
For having it.
Thank you.
Yeah, basically, one of the trees is unfortunate, it's spectacular, it really is, it's a beautiful tree, it's gigantic, there is. Maybe 3, maybe 2, but possibly 3 large cavities at the bottom of the tree. They're kind of going right in through. Both Nick and Dave and Sherry agreed that they were gonna do everything they can. They want to manage that tree right now. They want to trim it. They want to make sure, because it appears healthy, but there's
Is this red
concern.
number 2 on this list?
I forget which number, slightly northeast,
it's the largest
yes,
tree in
the
the
large,
park.
yeah.
I think it's the one I was gonna do for the big tree challenge, but it's not anymore.
If you look at it, it's healthy, but they are concerned about the cavities in the tree, at the bottom of the tree, at the base of the tree. So they're gonna keep an eye on it, probably gonna do some trimming on it. And as you can see, that Sherry's recommending a further risk assessment for that tree. There were 2 other trees right neighboring that tree. One of the trees, and Sherry recommends definitely that tree should come down. It's growing on an angle, and I think it's just because of the area that it's in. It's being kind of overshadowed. I mean, it's a big tree, but it's growing like this. Maybe you've seen it. You know where that turf area is from McCarter Park? It's right in front of it, and it's, I mean, it's got to be 2 feet around, and it's growing just like this. So there's a big concern that is just gonna come down soon. But the overall feeling was that they're gonna just keep a very close eye on these trees. They don't want to take them down, but I'm sorry, one of them is definitely gonna be coming down. I forget which number this one was.
So here is,
Curved trunk to the tree.
Number 1.
Yep.
It says.
and how many trees, what is the plan to replace these trees?
We talked about that and they were in agreement. I mean, obviously, there's no plan right now. Because there never is, right? So I brought that to their attention. That's something, that's why we're discussing this now. This is gonna be I think, a perfect example of us coming to the council to one of our grievances, if you will, in the past, is that, the town does work, takes trees down, but there's always a budget in place to take the tree down, but there's never a budget to replace the tree. I don't know what the ratio of tree to coming down were that. And 0, or they're never replaced by the town, so we that's one of our goals for 2024. You'll see it in our annual report that we really would like to see the town make this.
Every time the town
priority.
takes a tree down, the town should replace the tree. And there's no,
Yeah, that makes sense.
doesn't,
So we just talked about those trees. I'm missing something. We talked about trees, in the garage and dying and all that. Can we use those to replace
well,
this? What am I
They're-
missing?
there's some, I would be a little worried because the kids running around.
Okay,
stomping
so
on,
there's
you would
two.
have to protect all of them
Got
over there.
That's
But,
what I'm saying.
I think anything you would have to,
So you put up something bigger.
Yeah.
yeah, I think you'd have to.
Yeah. Um. You know, again, this could be an opportunity for us to, you know, donate a tree to the town through the buying program.
Mhm.
But it is, I think it's a perfect example of. The town needs to plan, because I mean, these trees are magnificent, and
Mm.
it's a shame that they, I mean, it is what it is, they're at a point in their lives where they are gonna have to be addressed, but you have to have a plan
Is
in
it-
place to put trees in the ground.
Is it our intention to replace it with the tree that we are taking out, the same thing?
We haven't gotten that far. But,
You
know,
mean
but,
oaks, put oaks back?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
replace
mean,
the
I think
red
it
oak with
probably
red,
makes sense.
so it's black.
Yeah, they've
Mhm.
clearly
They've done well.
thrived in that area.
Mhm. I know.
Um,
Yeah, it's gonna be a big difference, because there's no other trees, they're just big, huge trees, and it's not gonna have no shade if they go.
Yeah, and
That little corner.
they're all right next to each other, probably within 15, 20 feet of each other. Yep. Well,
But so that's a situation where if if you have to cut these trees down, if we could make like something to walk on, like it's like put it back, make benches out of them, do something with them to
that's a good idea.
preserve them in the park.
Mhm.
I think that'd be just so great. You're not totally losing it, you're. Yeah, 200-year-old tree.
I agree. I mean, that's making something out of the tree, like a path, or making something as a bench.
Yeah, kids love to climb on things. I know, you
Yeah.
need the special person that can make something out of it, but
Yeah,
they
some
have them.
kind of obstacle.
Yeah, I don't know, it'd just be nice to do something.
Could be something we can bring to their attention.
You want to talk about the, I was reading this thing, which I've noticed because I walk through that park every day. These 3 small maples that have the.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because that seems,
They're right on Perryman Road there.
right,
Yep.
yeah, I mean,
That was the other opportunity, I think. We could have to plant some trees
well,
there.
that's what, that
Yeah.
seems like a perfect like in and out there for those trees. It's with, if we want to do that in the spring.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah,
you know this, you can, I mean, it's obvious when you look at them.
yeah. She said they'd be okay, but they're just never gonna reach their full potential, because I think it was I think the deers got out.
Mhm.
Like, picked them over.
Oh, with their
Mhm.
rub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, since decay organisms have entered the buffalo bloom. So they'll just continue to decline.
Yeah, I saw at Heber Woods that they took basically snow fencing, you know,
Mhm.
and they just encased all their young trees, and it seems like a very inexpensive way and a very necessary way to, you know, a necessary thing to do if we're gonna plant so many trees, particularly in that park.
Mhm.
Have that in there.
Does this commission have a view on deer, thinning out the deer herd? That's something we've talked a lot about in the environmental commission. It's obviously not easy to do, but in the long run, it's good, because they
Sure.
get the disease and then
And
starve
they
to death.
destroy the trees.
And then destroy the
planted.
trees.
Yeah, I mean, we
So
haven't
you-
really discussed that, but yeah,
Sure.
I mean, they are destructive and. Yeah, no predators, no hunting, so.
Well, I mean,
Sure,
should
from-
we, would we support, if I know that they are talking about some sort of program, I don't know.
Yeah, we've been talking about it. We had an expert come in. It's very managed, safe. And they use a bow and arrow, and it's from high, so the arrow goes down.
Okay.
It's not a rifle shot, you know, through the neighborhood.
Yeah.
But we haven't been able to pull the trigger.
Or the air.
Where is that primarily done, like in the natural area?
Yeah.
And that's it, I would
Yeah,
assume.
not in the
Yeah,
park.
so I did learn that a
In the
private,
fields.
you know.
You can do it in my backyard.
In your own backyard, you can do it.
Yeah, you can,
Yeah, but you have to have, there's restrictions.
Yeah.
It has to be a licensed person. Somebody's been through training. But it hasn't crossed the finish line, but I'm a big fan of it, because they do a lot more damage. I mean, I love deer, don't get me wrong, he's not the most little. but they do a lot of damage.
Sure. No, I think. Should we
Uh,
offer an opinion at this
We can think about
stage of the
it.
game?
I'm just curious if it's something you
An
guys.
endorsement or not, thumbs down?
No, I'm totally for it, by having worked on all these committees that are being destroyed by. That's why all the invasives are, we have no understory in our natural areas, because they've eaten all of it, so then the invasives come in. They rub all the trees, I mean, they're just, there are too many of
Yes,
them
that's the problem.
in
Right
the
on that,
town,
but-
that is the problem, and the only thing, they have no predator except us. So that's,
How would you message that? Like, that is what, that look on my face, like, how on earth would you
Well,
talk about that?
there's a scheduled hunt and people apply, they have to pay for the permit, and there's a bunch of rules like. They have to donate the meat to a food shelf, there's a lot of things with it, but there's people that will apply for the permit to hunt.
Mm.
For the sport. And pay a fee and donate the meat.
Okay.
I
would
would
want to
assume the hours are very restricted.
It's very restricted and like. Yes, that part's taken care of.
Right.
I don't remember if the police are involved or not, but it's pretty serious, like, 7 AM on Saturday and there's no people allowed.
Right.
In the area. But apparently it's
there's,
popular.
there's really
Yeah,
no alternative, you can't, they tried.
Oh, I'm
yeah,
not,
yeah.
I'm not,
Yeah.
I just am thinking about the blow up from that, like. People that are,
Deer lovers?
well, I mean, you can be a
One
deer
can't
lover and
catch
still
an
be
arrow.
supportive of this,
Yeah.
but like, maybe less informed. But reactionary.
Well, it
Yeah.
certainly needs to have public,
Yeah,
outreach.
yeah,
Yes,
I think that's.
Explanation,
That could be a PR thing.
education.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's right, that's why it hasn't happened, right?
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
It's a tricky.
All right, moving on to the tree removal permit data. Christine.
I have no data because there is no applications yet this year.
Oh, okay.
And as Bill announced at the last meeting, Sherry Sparrow will be handling all the permits from now on, so. Next month, I'll probably have an update if there's any applications to share with you. Separately on data, the NJUCF and Tree City USA accreditation reports are due in early February. So I may be contacting you guys for any information I need to complete those reports.
On like what?
It's an annual report in order to stay, you know how you see the signs everywhere around town, like Tree City USA, 20 years.
Mhm.
I do a report every year to keep Fairhaven
Right.
abreast. Yeah. So it's a report that collects a lot of data and a lot of writing. So if you want to help, well, sure.
Well, what kind of data do you need help with? What,
A lot of it I get internally,
okay,
but I'll reach out.
Okay.
If you need any help.
okay.
You know where to find it.
Should we, sorry, kind of going back a little, should we say how many trees were removed in the year 2023 in our social
Mhm.
thing?
How many permits filed?
How many trees were cut down, like people who got permits? Yeah, I guess. They give a certain size. Is that something we want to publish or no?
Yeah, why not?
To you, I would just have to I feel like you would have to asterisk it with very particular, so people, it could be misleading perhaps, because this is on just private residences. Whatever you want to do, I can give you the.
And there were quite a few taken down on that list that were dead. So you'd have to, all right,
That's
these were
fair.
dead, these were taken down construction, these were hazards.
Yeah. I just think that, when you realize how many trees are taken down, you think, oh my God, we need to plant trees.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Still, I mean, I guess.
Ideally, we would-
Place-
know what percentage are hazardous, what percentage were dead,
Yeah, I don't think we have that data and,
Yeah.
yeah.
I do.
I get what you're
I
I
saying.
do. It is in that spreadsheet.
It's in that spreadsheet.
Just wasn't like a final tally.
I think that's not a bad idea, maybe leading up to. Buy a tree
Buy a
kind of
tree.
thing.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I
we could
sent
think
the
about that for a
order
minute.
form to everyone who took down the tree. We have that database,
Oh, that's great.
but
So
don't wanna go too negative or.
No,
too
that's
humdrum,
fair.
Like, you know what I mean, like,
Yeah, no,
but it is, I think it would be, you know, from a marketing standpoint, do X amount of trees come down in Fairhaven every year? Help us.
No.
Maybe trying to create urgency and get people.
Yeah, I don't
Is that the
wanna
idea?
use the old,
Awareness.
technical-
Awareness.
Awareness,
Yeah,
like-
awareness, is a good one.
maybe, yeah. Maybe people will be more compelled to either donate to, so that we can plant on public land, or they do more help to plant their own trees, but I do understand, like, we don't wanna seem like alarmist and
Right.
misleading with, you know, if it's an unsafe tree, it needs to come down. But I don't know,
Could you,
Really?
could you pair it with, you know, maybe a couple sentences about, you know, some trees have to be removed because they're dead, some because they're dangerous, some because of utility.
yeah, I think,
And then we tried to replace, our goal is to be positive every year, and these are the things that we're doing the acorn planting with little kids and the silver oak and the natural area and.
Salem.
Yeah.
Salem, sorry, silver oak. Made that. And then that
Spin it
takes
in
up
a
the-
positive way.
Yes,
yeah,
like comprehensive.
Help us. Rebuild the canopy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
For now.
Well, we can think about it. Maybe I should say it for new, but I just have a question about when a person has a concern about a tree coming down. They hear the tree, you know, they see the truck, they hear it, and they're wondering, who do they call? If they want to know, they call you and say, is there a tree permit? But what if they are afraid that they don't want to get in trouble with their neighbor?
They don't want to give their name.
But
I would
only-
just tell you a fact, right? Like, we have the record of it
Yeah.
or not. I mean,
And then you check with,
if we have the permit, we have the permit.
okay,
If we don't, then the code enforcement officer would go to the
And-
site and,
you send him out, you just,
Mhm.
okay. And he does go out and check it?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he would
That's
check
Joe?
and, no, that is, Brock. Siebert,
Brock?
yep, he's on PD.
Oh, okay. I didn't- Brock, super, okay.
He kind of goes out and checks things out when there's
Right.
calls about a variety of reasons.
Okay.
And he would obviously be able to see if there's action or if somebody sees it after the fact, if there were stumps, he'd be able to see and report that.
Okay.
Moving on the Shade Tree Commission Annual Report. Last meeting, we distributed the annual report that I'll hand over to council and present at probably.
I didn't
February
receive
meeting?
any comments other
Yeah,
than
that's-
the last meeting.
Anybody think of anything? No,
Yeah.
it's okay. If anybody thought of anything, maybe we could. The next, by the end of Friday, if something comes up, somebody, you know, send a. Comment over to
Sure.
Christie and
Yeah.
CC me on it
I
or.
mean, isn't the question kind of the budget, like how much? I know.
Budget's there. I mean, we didn't really quantify or come up with an exact
Well, yeah,
number
I kind of feel like, don't we,
because we were tapped at our. I'm assuming the 2% cap, Christie, is still in effect.
That's, I mean, that's for your operational budget. If there's a special project, I mean, that's something that the commission, I think, should advocate to council separately.
well, like the Christmas tree, do we want to ask for, is that special? And we talked about, do we need any money for? Yeah, maybe inventory, do we want to ask?
Need about $35,000.
Well, I don't know, I mean, should we see if they're open to, I don't, you know. If you don't ask, you don't get it, but I understand that you don't wanna look,
I don't think
No.
I'm prepared to ask for that delta off the inventory yet, considering that we've talked to one vendor. Like that would be something, you know, maybe next year that we would ask if we want to continue it but
Mhm.
I wouldn't have signed my name to that number right now without talking to other people.
I could, Christie, I don't know, maybe we'll put in the report. You that I'll remind council that we have this coming up, and we did get $15,000 towards it, but over the coming years, there is gonna be I don't know, I mean,
At minimum, it's
doing
not
a
fair.
$1,000 tree a year situation or whatever, so it will be something that we probably, maybe not in 2024, but very soon we will have to have an increase in budget, or I'm assuming the money would be.
I think we put, Sherry had estimated what this, or Davey, the CFMP cost, because that's due.
Yep, that's due now.
That's
Oh,
separate and
That's gonna be
additional, that has
like
to
$5,000 to $6,000 redoing that,
In order
which
to.
needs to be done too.
And should we ask for
Yeah, so
that?
that,
Yeah.
sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
for
a
sure.
required thing, so
Mhm.
that's 5,
Mhm.
2 for the tree. I mean, we don't ask for very much, but I mean, what about this McCarter Park and putting some trees in there to. You want to put in a budget for,
Well, we will have that line item still in the budget that we've had in previous years, that we touched on
Yeah,
later,
that
that
we
we didn't use, and I think it was
35.
3,500, yeah. So that will more than likely be right back in there.
it would be
Yeah.
great if we could get a better fee attached to tree removals, and that could become a pot for planting. Like that could be, well, but I mean, that
No.
really,
Yeah.
I think that should be stressed,
Yeah.
how that's just such a great way to get money to plant new
Yeah.
trees. I mean, it makes perfect sense. You
Absolutely.
cut a tree down, pay this, just to help
Yeah.
keep the canopy.
That's, I mean, the ordinance is in the report, we'll be addressing that. I guess I can. Skip a little ahead here, at the end, we would normally get a council, your tree preservation ordinance update. The ordinance that's been on the docket for a while and on the table there.
Yep.
That's something that we've been trying to, I guess it's still being discussed at council. I know you're new to it all.
One day in the job.
Come on.
But I have it here.
Yeah.
I've talked to the mayor. I know it's a priority for him to get it done.
Okay,
I asked him, that I need a couple of meetings, sort of get my feet
Sure.
on the ground and,
Yeah.
and figure out what you guys want and,
Yep.
and try to understand it. So
Yep.
my goal is, March, February, March, something like that. I'll try to have it,
sure.
at least understood and then work through something.
Yeah. I mean, our biggest. Part of it is collecting. Fees when people. Take down trees in their yard for construction or various reasons, I think there were. Penalties in there and, all kinds of things that would go towards tree replacement, that, something that we could. Handle and, run with and replace, and. Hopefully replace some of the trees that the town's taken down or just. Get trees in the ground.
Yeah, I know from being on the planning board, when people would come to the planning board for a variance. A lot of time there was horse trading that, we'll give a variance, but we want you to plant trees. So I think that precedent's certainly there.
Yep.
To have some sort of inflow of money related to taking down a tree.
And also, and kind of an equity, like if you take down a tree this big, that's one thing, you take down a tree that's this big. Like. You should probably be required to plant a lot more trees.
Sure.
And if you can't fit them in your yard, then just put money in the pot so that we can plant trees somewhere where they're needed.
And this big picture, so let's say we had a world where, I haven't read it yet, but let's say people have the permit, they pay a fee. And either they replace a tree in their yard, or if they don't have room, then they give money to a fund, and then. Do you think you guys would be able to figure out where to put or would want to know where to put the new trees and how to allocate that money and. Say like McCarter Park. Or
Yeah, that's what we were.
That would be
said
ideal.
before.
It's not as easy to plant a tree in this town as you would think. I think there's resistance because there's a lot of concern over who's going to maintain it and water it, and we need to figure that out a little better. Right, I mean, I don't, it seems like
Yeah,
there's,
the public land, it always opens it up too for liability in the future as well, so.
No, I always thought it was a watering thing. I mean, we have a water truck, but the DPW is very tapped out. So anyway, just,
Are there trees that we can plant that don't need to be, I mean, they grow in nature without?
you have to water a tree for at least a year or two. They just, the roots are involved or, they're, so you have to. I think that's the problem with the Christmas tree. I think nobody watered it, but, for a long time, anyway. But it's just, it's not easy to plant trees.
So my to-do is to understand what you guys want and read this, try to.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's, getting that on the workshop session.
Yeah, getting it towards,
Because then it has to go through a series of, to the planning board and everything else.
get it passed.
How long have you been working on that?
I think the
Mike,
ordinance, yeah,
Mike started in
2 years
2021.
ago, yeah. Mike, the tree ordinance, that project started 2 years ago, correct?
2.5. It was, it was the fall of 2021. Yeah.
Yeah, Mike and Tracy, and who else did you, and Dave?
Dave Piola.
Yeah,
Yeah. Brian, it'd be nice to, get this tied down at least this year if we can. I think there's a lot of missing revenue that we're missing out on. Obviously, enforcement is going to be the big thing, though.
right.
That's something that we talked about at length at this committee. So hopefully, the council figures something out when it comes to that.
Um. So that, so moving on, planning and discussion again for 2024 projects. We talked about doing a calendar. Peter is not here today, but
Yeah, he said.
I think obviously things like Arbor Day and any projects that we want to be in, where we'll be putting a sale oak trees. We've got to pick a date. We'll put that in the calendar, and that'll be the date, and we'll just move forward with it. Any other projects?
Lovely
The
day.
Lovely Live Day, we can mark that on there. The probably like the deadlines for ordering the trees through the resident tree buying program. Hopefully we'll set a deadline for the Christmas tree, and hopefully that'll happen. So things like that, and anything else that comes in, hopefully have a real schedule going into 2024, taking into consideration that like we said at the last meeting, Mark, there's Brian, I'm sorry. We're meeting once a month, you guys meet once a month, and then there's always a big time lag. So next thing you know, a whole year goes by. This year we're gonna try to be a little more proactive and stay ahead of things.
Would we be interested in any sort of volunteer day activity, some sort of shade tree volunteer or something? Like trees. Any trees, something, I don't know. I mean, Brian came out to volunteer planting trees. That's true. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you coming. So nice to know we have a tree planter as our liaison. I don't know, I just was wondering if it's a good example in town to have a shade tree commission doing something, leading something. I mean, I look at one area that I think is really neglected is the bird sanctuary. I mean, it's just, I know the garden club is supposed to be kind of in charge of it. I don't know if DPW ever goes in there to do anything. I don't know, I just was trying to think of something that might be.
Something to be able to put on the calendar one day.
Yeah, it gives the kids volunteer hours. I mean, they're always looking for that. Have a little demonstration on planting trees or something. Just a thought. Or coordinating with the natural area or Thirsty Trail or something, just, there are lots of volunteer days, but.
Do you want to map out a volunteer day?
I just wanted to see if there was any interest.
What does everybody think? I mean, we are going to be planning, I think this year, Salem Oaks going in McCarter,
Okay.
going in at the,
Yeah,
I always forget the name of it.
the William Albert Boulevard Park.
Which part is that?
So that's on Normandy, down by Boosker Do. You know the little park at the end there?
Yeah.
We were gonna put one of the Salem Oaks there too. When we got one that was our original, every town in New Jersey got one. And then Dave Paola went and got two more because they had extras and so I have those two too. So we have backups, we have spares. So we were thinking about putting two in McCarter and I mean, maybe we should put one of those over by where the big trees are coming out instead of where we were gonna, you know, like.
How big is it now? How big are they now?
We got the-
They're little, I mean, the
Yeah.
one that we've had, you know, they're very small, they're in pots, I mean, they want to get out of the pots.
Right, I'm just
And it's
worried
just-
because it's by the turf, isn't it?
Yeah, it's by the.
Yeah,
turf.
well, that's
And
why I see
we're-
that in the
we would have
corner.
to wait.
Yeah.
We're back to playing a waiting game. I kind of like the idea of moving forward and. finding
Waiting,
games.
with.
Well,
No.
waiting
Oh,
for the trees to
oh,
come
oh,
down and to see,
yeah.
you know, what they do. So I
Yeah.
think,
Well, I mean, they're, yeah,
no.
so, anyway,
Okay.
that's true, that's three.
So here's my
Super.
opinion on the volunteer planting day. I think that is like a third street trail thing right now. And you have, and the natural area thing, and you have such a thing, like, it is such a thing going right. Like, you have something going there. I think you throw in another one, it's gonna be like lost in the sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that we should do, if we wanna do a volunteer or something, we should pick something else. Or, you know, we should have the shade tree in conjunction with, or. And
Well, that would be
yeah,
great.
I mean, like,
To have the
I
shade-
don't know that, like, to go ahead and say we're gonna take on the bird sanctuary, it just seems like,
Yeah,
it's just a lot.
I don't know, just, you're right, I mean, look, both the natural area and Thirsty Trail would love having the support of the Shade Tree Commission. Really knowing, I mean, I know a lot of you have bought trees
Ew.
on the Thirsty Trail and, what?
They do. I mean, a lot
Well,
of,
they,
a lot of us are there and help,
You come up.
as Mark will attest to. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. I think we do a lot of stuff, and I agree that I don't think we should split our resources because I don't even know how you would start the bird sanctuary. From what I've heard, it's just such a massive, it would be such a massive undertaking. I think we should try to finish and continue doing what we're doing and not lose steam. So,
I mean, I think it's like a promotion thing, I mean, I don't go to do that because my allergies would kill me, but I send my husband, like that's, but you know, everyone does what they can do, but we could absolutely promote it, and you know, like I said, if you want to volunteer to, like, a seriously counted trees would be helpful.
Yeah.
I would like to do that,
That's a
yeah.
good idea. Maybe we should shoot for
And-
that and rather than get so.
Yeah, and like to
spread
move towards
thin.
that, like, to move towards closure on getting this inventory thing, like, at least done, and like that would
Yes.
be.
Mhm.
That with the ordinance would be two enormous wins for the commission this year, I think.
Absolutely.
Inventory and ordinance.
Yeah,
And the Christmas tree.
yes, yeah,
Don't
three
pick
big
a
wins,
lot.
we can take three, yeah.
Moving on to any proposed new agenda items.
I just wanted to ask Chrissy, I'd asked Chrissy if she would send you all out
I will, yeah.
a notice that Doug Tomley is speaking at Monmouth University on the 23rd at night at 7. And they've been sending out there. I was asking if we could get CEU credits if 'cause
I
they-
asked her, she hasn't responded yet.
because we get them for a talk he gave whoever, I don't know that many people attended, it was during the day, but I thought we all got credit, like I thought a bunch of people did.
She hasn't responded yet,
Okay.
the woman who tracks all the CDs.
It's just, he's such a great speaker. He is the person that turned me on to oaks and other trees and the Homegrown National Park where the Oak Acorn Project came from. He's just a great speaker and it's at Monmouth and it's part of their climate institute or something. you know, pretty new that they formed, which I think is great to support as well. So anyway, if you're free on the 23rd at 7 o'clock, I think you know, enjoy it and get a lot out of it.
Got my text from Mark.
Same.
All right, so no new business. Public participation.
Or
Anybody out
proposed
there?
agenda items, Mike, do you want to start adding Arbor Day for next month?
Well, that's a
Oh,
good idea.
you gotta get ahead on that one. That's gotta go. on the
You
calendar.
took great minds, Christie. I was gonna say that. Yeah, we should put that on the agenda for the next.
Will do.
I have a question. Are we continuing the Quanz and Cherry initiative on Fairhaven Road this year?
Huh? What's that?
We can't get it. Oh, yeah.
We can't get them from Brooke for the spring,
Right.
but I did ask, she said maybe for the fall.
Okay.
So,
So should
that
we-
worked nicely with them, so
Yeah.
I think I'll keep that on the radar.
for the fall.
For the fall.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then if, Peter wants to coordinate who gets where they should go again, that would be probably volunteer him for something.
Okay, thanks.
No public participation? Anybody?
If you have a question, please use the raise hand feature and I'll bring you over. Mark Olson? Go ahead.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Hey, so I just want to say what Bonnie was saying about if we did a volunteer day, like the first weekend in March or first weekend in February, and we just advertised that Shade Tree Commission was helping us. Whoever shows up, McCabe is going to show up, and Mike's going to sweat one of the D'Angelos, and hopefully Sean Sullivan shows up. I mean, and Bonnie will be there. So that's great participation. So just say if we could just use the Shade Tree Commission name in our advertising, we're doing a volunteer day and hopefully, in coordination with the Shade Tree Commission. That's all, just to use your name, because your name has some, gravitas around town. And whoever shows up, shows up.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we're all in favor of that. Sure.
We did that it would be the first Sunday in February or the first Sunday in March. Haven't figured it out yet, but that's all we want to do is, and then whoever shows up, shows up. That'd be great. I don't know if you guys want to put that to a vote or gotta discuss it, but
Yeah, I don't think we can vote. I think we all agree that, I think we can,
Hey, Mark,
in conjunction with it.
yeah, just keep in mind that, that break, if you're planning that February weekend.
Presidents.
No, it's the
Yes,
weekend before
yeah, we do it
President's.
differently.
Yeah.
Oh.
I thought that was wasn't that, Sheila, I thought it was the
The
12th
nine,
and 13th.
10th,
8th,
9th,
9th.
whatever that weekend.
Yeah,
is.
it would be the weekend before that. I think the break is the 12th and 13th. So it would be the weekend. It would be like Sunday, the 4th of February, or Sunday, the 3rd of March, one of those 2 days.
The party people.
It was so nice last year in February. It was amazing. Well,
It was lasting.
See what happens.
Yeah.
But, yeah, by all means, Mark, go ahead.
All right, great. Thank you.
Any
Anybody
other
else?
questions? No other comments?
I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn this meeting. Ryan's got the second.
Alright.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Did you have more?
Welcome, Brian.
Thank you. So,
Hope you enjoyed it.
Happy-
yes.
Okay, good.
Any questions, just
Yeah.
email me, give me a call, whatever.